If you've been dating a Filipina online, at some point you'll be ready to fly to the Philippines to meet in person. And when that time comes, the very first meeting can really either make or break you and the relationship. You can be sure that there are certain things that some foreign men commonly do that really lead to many problems fairly quickly. And in this video, I'll go through some of those things so when you're meeting your Filipina for the first time, you won't make these mistakes. Just quickly, if you're enjoying our channel, feel free to subscribe for all future videos. The first thing to avoid at all costs when meeting your Filipina for the first time is that when you arrive in the Philippines, your girlfriend will most likely be there to greet you. Now, of course, this is a very exciting time filled with anticipation because you guys may have been waiting many months for this to happen. But you need to remember here that you guys are only now just entering the second phase of the relationship. The first phase, of course, was when you found each other online and started chatting to getting to know each other a little better. I call that the chatmate stage. Now that you've flown to meet her in person, that becomes the second phase where you see if she's the same as she seemed online. And if all works out well before the end of the visit, you may wish to move from chatmates to becoming boyfriend and girlfriend. So when you first meet, you really need to keep things slow and still take some time to get to know her again. By this I mean getting to know her in person and not over a computer. Upon arrival, many couples may go straight back to the motel room and they may quickly dive straight into some bedroom action. But know right here that this can be a big mistake that some can certainly regret a bit later on. Now, I'm not saying not to sleep with her at all, but wait a week or two to spend quality time around her family, but mostly together by yourselves. Doing this will allow you to see how she interacts with her family, where many natural behaviours will come out, as well as how the two of you get on when spending a week or two together. While some women can hide certain traits or behaviours online, it's far different to be able to do that 24/7 for a week or two, and if one is observant, one will certainly pick up on certain things that may or may not be of concern to you. And if she's right for you after a week or two, then there's still much time for plenty of loving and getting to know each other on a much more personal and intimate level. The second thing to avoid doing at all costs when meeting your Filipina for the first time is to control your spending with her. Many foreign guys on their first trip to the Philippines will feel like their money goes so far. Some may feel rather wealthy because the cost of many things can seem very inexpensive in the Philippines. It's easy to really start to slash out with your money, taking your girlfriend to expensive restaurants or buying her many expensive gifts like jewellery or watches, etc. Now, I'm not saying not to buy her anything at all or not to go to a restaurant once in a while, but keep it all in moderation. And buying more expensive gifts can wait until you guys have been together for some time and she'll still appreciate it then just as much. This just stops you from spending perhaps thousands of dollars before really getting to know each other very well and then feeling like a fool if things don't work out. The third thing to avoid when meeting your Filipina for the first time is that when you go to visit your girlfriend's home, which for many may still be living with their parents and siblings in a province area, you may be taken aback by the living conditions. We all know that many people in the Philippines may not have the comforts we may have, but for some, when they actually see it in person, how someone they care about has been living for many years, which is simply their way of life. And make no mistake, for some foreign guys, this can be extremely confronting to the point where he quickly wants to help in every way possible. Now, don't get me wrong here. It's nice that guys are compassionate and caring, but one still needs to remember that the relationship is still very young. Some guys, out of feeling sorry for his girlfriend and family, immediately commit to spending money to help renovate the house or to buy nicer furniture or some even help them to set up a small business. All these things may cost several thousands of dollars, which one may certainly come to regret later on. Remember, these things can be done at a later time when you have a much longer, lasting and secure relationship. I've also heard many men tell me how they went to the Philippines for the first time to meet their girlfriend, and when they saw how she was living or saw that she was working 12-hour days just to earn a small amount of money, these guys immediately asked their very new girlfriend to stop working and said that he will send her money every month. Now again, this is the compassionate and caring side coming out from these guys, but it's not only you here that may lose out if at some point in the not too distant future the relationship ends. The Filipina, if she had a job, even if it didn't pay much, it was still an income, which in the Philippines, any income is good income. So think of this. She gave up her job and income on your promise to basically look after her forever. And I do say forever, because that's what you're saying to her when you tell her to leave her job, even if you don't realise it, because that is what she understands it to mean. Let's say 3 to 6 months from now, you decide the relationship isn't working and you decide to end it. What do you think will happen to this Filipina? She now has no relationship or money. She has no job and no income to live on. In the Philippines, for many, getting a job is not easy unless you have good qualifications, and even then, many with bachelor degrees are doing jobs well beneath them. Essentially, what you thought you were doing when asking her to stop work 6 months or so ago has now got her struggling just to put food on the table. And simply, that's a terrible position to put someone in, even if you meant well at the start. My point here is that no matter how much you want to help at the start, you need to think of the consequences, not just for you, but more importantly, for her. As living in the Philippines with no government support and no income is a terrible situation to be in. Remember this, if she has a job where she's paid by an employer, maybe as a sales assistant or school teacher for example, which by the way, neither pay much, always encourage her to stay in her job, as it's not only good for her, but it's also her safety net, which in a country like the Philippines is ever so important. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up, subscribe and press the bell icon for future videos. Thanks for watching, stay safe and take care.